I thought I'd have some fun here and show you the glamorous life of a communications professional. You've already heard that Eric and I were REECA sweethearts, and here we are recently at the Russian embassy under the watchful gaze of El Presidente. And we enjoy our many visits to the Russian embassy in Washington. So I thought I would take a little romp through my life and my own relationship with Russian studies. I was born into a family of white Russian emigres. My grandparents and great-grandparents had fled the Russian Revolution, had settled in Europe, and then made their way to the United States. My parents embraced the United States of America, but we always kept a link to Russia through Russian language, Russian culture, and the Russian Orthodox Church. My father is a reporter for the New York Times, and in 1980 we moved to Moscow, and we arrived in Moscow on January 1st, 1980, in a very, very cold spell, which was quite a shock to me and my siblings. Russia in 1980 was in the throes of deep stagnation under Brezhnev. We lived in an expat bubble. We attended an American school. We lived in an expat apartment building. We drove specially marked cars, and we shopped at special dollar stores. For those of you who traveled to Russia in the Soviet period, that was familiar. We did not interact much with Russians, who were afraid to speak with us and really looked at us with curiosity from afar. Following 1980, we witnessed several transformations and transitions. In fact, every time a Soviet leader died, we would get a day off of school. So we learned to recognize the funeral dirge on the radio as a quite gleeful moment, meant that we had yet another day off of school. And then through to perestroika, of course, and all that came after. Fast forward to college, I was a freshman here at Harvard when the Berlin Wall fell, and of course it was impossible not to get caught up in all that that meant and the huge shift in everything that we had understood and knew. When I entered REECA in 1993, it was just after the name change, and it was very much a program in transition itself and in some turmoil. We were lucky to have front row seats as our professors debated in front of us economic transition, shock therapy versus gradualism, legal reform and constitutional issues. Our professors were advising these governments, and they were having debates in front of us about the best way forward. So that was just such a rich and exciting time to be here. I moved on into a career in foreign policy and in various think tanks, as Orly noted, at East-West Institute in New York, at the Belfer Center at the Kennedy School, many years at the Council on Foreign Relations in New York and Washington, and now joining my husband at American University at the School of International Service. Through all of that, I've kept a little toe in Russia policy, keeping an eye on what's going on, and writing and trying to think about it throughout. I'm actually done without any cards, but I will leave on this note that I'm really glad to see the REECA program thriving and robust, because I think as tensions rise and as governmental relations become more difficult, it's really more important than ever that we seek to understand Russia and the countries around it. I've always been a proponent of engagement, of understanding, of exchanges, and so I'm glad to see that that still has a place here at Harvard. Thank you.